1 Corinthians 15:9-11. For I am the least of the apostles, and do not even deserve to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of God. But by the grace of God I am what I am, and his grace to me was not without effect. No, I worked harder than any of them, yet not I, but the grace of God that was with me. Whether then it is I or they, this is what we preach, this is what you believed. Again, maybe not direct correlation between that verse and the title of today's video, but if you really think about it, Paul, who's the writer of 1 Corinthians, formerly named Saul, let's call him the serial killer of Christians, Saul turned into Paul and became one of the most prolific writers throughout the Bible. He wrote almost all of the books in the New Testament, minus the 4 Gospels and the ones that Peter, also known as Simon, wrote. And it says right here, he worked harder than any of them. He put in the work to become a winner. Even through his bad mistakes in the past, he switched his mindset. He found the Lord, trusted in him, and became a winner. So, you want a method to become a winner, don't you? That's why I clicked on this video, right? Well, here we go. Stop procrastinating is the first part of becoming a winner that you need to really understand. So many people sit there, they have assignments to do in school, right? And they put it off. They're like, oh, I'll do it the night before. So the way my school schedule works, you have one day where you have 4 classes, then you have another day with 4 different classes, right? So you have essentially 2 days to do homework. And so many people do the homework on the second day. Procrastination. So instant gratification, right? It's the opposite of eating the frog. And I'm guilty of this too. But through a mindset switch, you stop procrastinating. You start doing the hard work first for the enjoyment later. So, many people are doing mental masturbation is what it's called. And it's when you watch like educational content like my videos or Hamza's videos, and you learn and you figure out what you need to do to become great. You figure out how to reach your fullest potential, and you sit there and in this cornucopia of thought, you imagine what you can be. You imagine yourself like Superman, right? Like jacked, nice beard, chiseled jawline, with a ton of women, nice car. And you sit there and you think that produces dopamine and endorphins. So you're sitting there and you're feeling productive when you didn't do anything. So my advice for you for this video too is to actually listen to what I have to say, pay attention to the words I'm speaking, and after this video, apply them. Another way to stop procrastinating is to increase testosterone levels, because that will make you want to work more, and actually it will make work feel better. So one of the side effects, not really a side effect, but that's the best word I can think of. So one of the side effects of increasing testosterone obviously is wanting to mate, right? Wanting to attract a mate. And all men know this, that you need to work, you need to bring yourself up to become greater to attract that mate, right? So it makes you want to do work, and it also makes your work feel good. I have a whole video about increasing your testosterone. I'll put that in the card at the top. Watch that after this video. The next thing you need to really watch and pay attention to is your sleep. So if you're someone like me, about my diet, if my diet's off a little bit on certain days, even if I can't control it, I get very upset and very mad, and it starts burrowing into my mind, and I start getting mad, and it turns into like this tunnel effect to where by the end of the day I'm just really upset because my diet wasn't what I wanted it to be. Even though I'm young and I still have time to fix it, and I still eat better than almost everyone, it still messes me up. And I know people that are like that with sleep. So Hamza explained this pretty well. He said he had an Oura ring, and he would track it, and he would see that it didn't do well in his sleep, and it would mess up his mental. So whole point was to tell you to, I would say, if you're like me and Hamza in that way, do not get an Oura ring, but wake up early. Especially for me, this has worked so much because the world's not awake, right? For me, my parents aren't awake, my siblings aren't awake, and the outside world is not awake, so I can come here completely focused without any distractions and work. And also in the morning is when I could just say, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. It allows me to eat the frog, which I talked about earlier, but it's essentially where you have a choice. So there's this frog and you have to eat it to save your family, right? So you have to eat this frog. And then there's a nice dinner, probably steak, vegetables, good potatoes, everything, right? Now you have the choice to eat the frog before or after your meal. Think about your answer right now, and I'll tell you if you will be successful or not by your answer. For those of you that said they will eat the frog before their meal, you, my friend, will be successful because you understand the concept of delayed gratification. You do the hard work now, you eat the frog now for that gratification of the good meal later, right? So that's what I do when I wake up early. I wake up, I work out, I do CrossFit first thing in the morning because I know if I put it off, one, I won't do it, and two, I will be dreading it. So I do that early in the morning. And obviously, if you wake up early, you need to go to sleep early, which is sometimes hard for me. I'm not going to lie to you, I lose about an hour's sleep through the week. And it's not great, but I make it up over the weekend. And then the last thing, which so many people mess up, especially nowadays, is getting good quality sleep. So many people fall asleep while watching there's something on their phone. So while they're sleeping, it's right next to their head. And right before they fall asleep, they're getting all of this light, blue light, into their eyes, right? This is all not good because it's all messing up your melatonin production, which is what makes you tired, and it messes up your brain. So when you do fall asleep, you will be tired, but your brain will still be very active and you won't get that deep REM sleep. Another thing that's really good is setting up routines. So this is something that I do for almost everything, is setting up a routine. And what a lot of very successful people do is they write out their routine for the next day, the night before. Me personally, I don't do this. I should, but I don't. But I have this plan of just, this is what I do at this time, this is what I do at this time, and I'm one of the lucky ones, I guess you could say, that does it because I don't care about my emotions. And that's a whole topic for a different video, being more masculine. But anyways, right now, you just have to do the thing every day. Especially for me, if I don't do something every day, I probably won't do it ever. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard for me, but when I do it every day, it's like, oh, you know, I'm doing this is important to me. Especially for your subconscious mind, do it every day, focus on it, and it will be into your subconscious. So then you'll do it more, you'll focus on it more, and it's this positive feedback loop where you're constantly just focused and you're here working, being better, growing, learning, you know. So that also creates habits. It takes 21 days to create a habit, right? So if you do the same thing every day for 21 days, eventually you won't think about it, and it's a habit. Again, part of that positive feedback loop. So then you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, not even think about it, boom, out. And that's my personal experience with that as well. The fourth thing that you need to do to become a winner is set goals. You need to write them down and make sure they're at the top of your priority list. So my priorities are God, family, work, right? Family meaning family and friends, relationships, romantic and non-romantic, right? That's my priority list. So you need to write them down, write down your goals. And I have, and I look at them all the time. I remember when I was first getting back into the gym, because I stopped working out for about 6 months due to my priorities getting out of whack. So when I was first getting back, I wrote down, I'm going to work out 6 days a week. And every time I didn't feel like going to the gym, I'd think back to that goal and say, I'm going to do it. And I did. And now I've gotten to the point where I work out anywhere between 14 and 21 times a week, right? Maybe that's too much. I don't think so. I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of drive to do what I need to do. And this is the best way I feel I can do that. Also, when you write down these goals, pick your top 1 or top 2. Ideally, your top 1. But if you're a young man like me, you'll have more than one to focus on because you have so much that you can level up. For me, my top 2 is building the 10 out of 10 physique and making enough money to survive online. That's what I'm doing with this, and building 10 out of 10 physique, like I mentioned before, is working out 2 to 3 times a day, right? And when you focus on these, you put all of your energy into these. You think about them constantly. It burrows into your subconscious, again creating that positive feedback loop. So positive feedback loops work in 2 different ways. If you watch porn every day, it'll be in your subconscious. It'll be a positive feedback loop to making that addiction harder to quit. But you can flip these loops in order to do productive things, good things for you, which is very interesting and I think very powerful. And there's a SMART acronym for goals, which makes them specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. SMART. That's really good. So if you have a goal, like the goals I said were kind of vague, building the 10 out of 10 physique, which isn't super vague, but it's still vague, right? And it also depends, but you break that down to make it more specific. So it's working out 6 times a week at least for me. For some of you, that's at most, which is fine to start out. And then measurable is, doing that thing. And making money online to survive. Making it more specific is I want to make specifically $3,000 a month, because in order to do what I want to do, that sounds like an unlivable wage. But to live where I want to live, it is very, very livable. Like living a good life. So that's my specific version. The 5th thing you need to focus on for becoming a winner is mental health. A very publicized, very out there topic these days, yet very untreated. So we have all these people talking about taking mental health days and all this stuff, which is weird in my opinion, and I focus heavily on my mental health, like I said before, with my diet. I oftentimes have to sit there and breathe through it and say, it's okay, we'll grind tomorrow, we'll get better later today and tomorrow, right? So one of the things, like I just mentioned, is meditating. You sit there, you think, and you'll put your thought on a blank canvas, and then something pops up. Whatever thought it is, like a crumbled paper unfolds in your space of the mind, and it zooms in, and you're in this story now. And you follow that story for a little bit until you reach a point to where you're like, oh crap, I'm supposed to be meditating. So at that point, you crumble up the paper. You don't get mad at it. You just simply shift your focus. Don't even crumble up the paper. Just let it be. Zoom out, shift your focus back into this blank space. That's how you meditate. And then you need to learn to be content as well as wanting to be ambitious. So you need to be happy right now in the moment, being present, which meditation helps with, as well as working towards and wanting to become better. That is a hard skill. That is something that I'm wrestling with every day, but it does help. So I'm happy right now because I don't have the 10 out of 10 physique yet, but I look really good, especially for my age. That is not bragging, that's just, I'm trying to put you in my shoes, right? And another thing I'm content with is that I outwork a lot of people. Maybe I don't work some days as much as I want to because of time constraints. And again, with my diet, I don't eat as good as I want to, but I'm still up here. And that's what I'm going to be good in right now, as well as cleaning up my diet even more, eating foods that are even better for me, even better for testosterone production, things like that. And then all of these things, when you're content with yourself and your mental health is good, you will work more because your brain won't be messed up by all of these different things that you will be able to sit down and work. The last thing I want to talk about is that being a winner is not easy. If it was, everybody would do it, right? Rocky, which I haven't seen this movie, so pardon me if I get everything wrong, but Rocky was a winner. He was really good at boxing, right? Talking about how it's not how many punches you can take, it's about how many times you get hit, and every time getting back up, right? And he worked hard to hone his craft. That's how he became good, because he outworked people. It's not easy, it's just what he did. And not only that, you have to grind. Again, with this Rocky concept, he was in the gym all the time, hitting that bag, grinding. Kobe's a better example, waking up in the gym, training before everybody got there and left after everybody got there. So over time, he would be better than the most talented person in the world because he outworked him 100-fold. That goes perfectly into my last thing I'm going to leave you with, which is grind like a man and become a legend.